Hey, what's happening, y'all? It's me coming back at you again with another vid. Well, it looks like Lucas Brown had some choice of words for Joseph Parker. Um, Now, a few days ago, Parker's handlers had called out Lucas Brown after he had after his Brown had KO'd Ruslan Jagayev for the WBA regular title. Okay. Now, the history between Parker and Brown is that it's a brief history. Actually, it's not a long history. The brief history is that Parker's handlers, which is Duco Offense, have been long seeking a fight with Brown. Okay, and from what I've read and for what I read from earlier reports and for what I've heard, Brown actually wanted to fight Parker. He actually wanted to fight, but Ricky Hatton Promotions, which manages and promotes Brown, didn't like the offer, and so they turned down the fight. Now, according to Duco Events, they claim the offer that they offered Brown was very lucrative and was a lot of money, but from my understanding, the amount was not disclosed. Just like a heap amount of the fighters that they've offered to fight Parker in New Zealand, and they've all turned it down. So, again, from my early observation, is that Duke Events is not offering enough money to get guys to go over to New Zealand to fight their fighter. So, if they really want fights to be held in New Zealand, they're gonna have to spend a lot of money, and I think they have the capital. They just can't be greedy about it. But needless to say, Lucas Brown did fire back about the call out, and this is what he said: "Quote," and he's referring to Joseph Parker, not exactly his handlers. He said here, "Quote: My message is simple: piss off. Now, if you want to win yourself a world title, great, but go do what I did: fight a heap of times overseas, work your way up, and earn it the hard way, just like I did it." I'll leave it there. Now, I paraphrased there a little bit. Now, to Lucas Brown credit, he did fight overseas a few times. Aside from Australia, he did fight overseas into the UK a few times, and he did fight two world class opponents, meaning James Toney and Ruslan Jagayev. Now, we all know that James Toney was way over the hill, and Ruslan Jagayev was, he was a bit over the hill as well, but he was much more um, prime fighter than James Toney when Tony fought Brown. But it is what it is. But we all know that Lucas Brown, ever since winning the WBA title, he's been calling out the current champions, naming Tyson Fury most recently, and he called out Deontay Wilder not too long ago. So he's been trying to line himself up to get a fight with the other champions. So he's obviously going for the big money fights now. Now the question is, does this mean that Lucas Brown is being dismissive with Joseph Parker? Yeah, you could say he is. So he is to a degree, but again, yeah. But at the same time, you have to understand his focus is not on Parker. His focus is more on getting those bigger money fights with those other champions, as I just initially stated. Now, if the fight were to happen, believe me, it'll be a damn good fight. Another great fight for the heavyweight division. It'll be an ultimate rivalry between not sorry, the UK. I'm sorry. It'll be an ultimate rivalry between Australia versus New Zealand. So that would be, it will be fireworks. Believe it or not. You trust me. When you get a Joseph Parker fight or even Lucas Brown fight, it's gonna be some bombs and it's gonna be a war if this fight is ever does get made. But if it does get made, I do see it happening maybe 2 years down the road, whatnot. But Parker, on the other hand, he still has to work his way up. He does have an IBF title eliminated against Carlos Takam, and from what I've read from the from what I've heard, Takam's handlers were presented and offered by Duco Events to have the fight held in New Zealand, whatnot, and of course, this is a shout out to Kiwi Boxing Gossip. Go check his channel out because I actually heard this from him. He said that Duco Events had offered the fight to Taco's handler to be held in New Zealand, and and Taco's handlers probably laughed it off to where this fight they're gonna take this to a purse bid, and more than highly likely that if it does go to a purse bid, which it will, obviously, I think it will. Taco's handlers are going to win that purse bid, and they're going to have that fight held in France. In which Duco, by the way, did mention that they are prepared to be, that they are prepared for that situation, and they will oblige and have that fight held in France if they need be. We all know this. Also should note that another Australian fighter by the name of Suleiman Hamano, which I am very aware of. Hamano actually called out Lucas Browne as well. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, but I didn't never seen Hamano being ranked anywhere in the WBA. I mean, if he is, he's probably ranked way at the bottom. I don't think he's in the top 15. If he is, please let me know. I'll have to go back and look at the rankings. And he's not even ranked that high in the world level. And by the way, Hamano is also one of those other fighters who Joseph Parker's handlers wanted to offer a fight with, and he turned it down. But then all of a sudden he comes out of nowhere, I think a couple months ago, and say that Joseph Parker ducked him because Hamano was ranked. He was a mandatory challenger to one of Parker's regional titles, and Parker had vacated that title. So when Parker had vacated the title, that's when Hamano had made the accusation where Parker was ducking him. Now, I don't know about all that, but, oh, man, these people right now, Hamano, you got a guy who turned down a fight initially, then all of a sudden he want to come out and say that very fighter that you turned down a fight against is now ducking you. So I don't know. Help me out to understand that, my Kiwi subscribers. Help me understand that situation. But, yeah, let me know what you think. I mean, who you think will win in the potential matchup between Lucas Browne and Joseph Parker? Care to comment, share, subscribe, sign it off. Peace.